Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Scat,
Me llamo es Willy.
and you are watching the Scat and Willy podcast. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Homecoming King and Cross Country Goon, Max Cords.
How is everyone? How you guys feeling?
I'm pretty
I'm
good. How are
good.
you?
Feeling great. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here, man.
Pleasure.
Max, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
My name is Max. I'm 18 years of age. I live and I go to the same school as Willy and Scat. We ran cross country together. A lot of very
We
good
did.
times there.
Yes.
I leaving for college. I'm going to High Point University. I'm leaving in about 5 days.
And where is
very
that, Max?
That is in North Carolina. Scat's favorite place.
My favorite. Yeah. Sure.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
It is a ridiculous place. Yes.
In case you guys don't know, Scat, he has a personal vendetta against everyone and everything that has to do with North Carolina. It all started with an Islanders loss, and he hasn't been the same since then, and I don't know
No.
why.
Isn't Mr.
Like, he's
Beast from
called me
North
before-
Carolina? Isn't he there? Or is
Mr.
it
Beast
South
is,
Carolina?
he
He
is,
is.
no,
Oh,
he's
he
from
is,
North
he is.
Carolina.
All right. He's like their saving grace. He's the
He
only
is,
thing
but,
keeping
you
that
know.
place in check.
It- and well, they got UNC too, and High Point,
Not last
obviously.
year. Well, yeah.
Well,
How is High Point? Is that like? I mean, I guess it's obviously a good school if you're going there, but how is it there?
Pretty nice. I'm definitely very excited. Like it's new and like kind of on the come up in terms of colleges really. It like they're kind of really coming more onto the scene a little bit in the last like 10 years really. Like they're redoing a ton of like their buildings and stuff. Like it's more modern than it was. So it's definitely gaining popularity now. I've heard more and more people like have heard of it. There's still people who are kind of like, oh, I've never heard of it, or they give you that face like when you tell them that you just know they don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely grown in popularity over the past few years.
What's your major?
It's media production and entrepreneurship, and they have a sports media. Like I might minor in sports media, just because like that's kind of I love that stuff, and that's like what I did here. So I'm kind of like maybe I'll do that as like a minor. But when I was selecting majors, I didn't really want to like narrow myself down to sports. If I decided I wanted to branch, like
I
you
get
just
that.
learn about the sports aspect of it, then you may not be able to like branch out and do other things. So I feel like at least if I learn the media stuff, and I already have a little bit of a knowledge on sports, I don't just like tie myself down. You can still do sports when you have the media background a little bit, but if you just have sports, you may not be able to do, other aspects of media in the world. So
That makes a lot of sense. I'm actually considering doing
Yeah.
sports media in college.
yeah,
I
that is it's up there in my, if I weren't doing, media thing, like sports media by far would be the next one, and I would be like, I would love every part of it.
Yeah.
I actually just took a couple classes at Hofstra
Yeah,
for
I saw that.
yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. It was 3 classes. It was hosting pre and post game shows, calling play by play, and the last one I did was producing and editing. And
Wow.
literally the whole time I was doing producing and editing, I was like, man, I feel like MRC edits right now.
The thing with Hofstra, they have like the very good like communications. Like I'd say, at least in New York, I don't know about nationwide, but Syracuse is probably number one, I would assume.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I mean,
Syracuse is the real
yeah,
deal.
it is.
Yeah.
And then Hofstra's probably up there. Might be number 2 for like communications. Have you seen that room? Like it's insane.
Yeah, I was in there. Their studio is insane. They have a nice studio.
Absolutely nuts.
They have it's a TV studio, and then right next to it they have the radio studio, and it was so cool being in there. I put a picture of my story being the recording studio. Someone was like, "Oh my God, you J. Cole?" I was like, "Nah, it's J. Willy Cole." Well, this definitely the producing and editing I'd say is a college level course. The guy who was teaching himself even said that he's a professor and he teaches this stuff to his college students. So producing and editing was definitely like you don't get college credit for it, but it's definitely like college level stuff that you're practicing in there. Play by play and pre and post game, that was more for fun, I guess. Like those are still very valuable skills to have, especially if you want to go into sports journalism, like knowing how to call a game and how to talk before and after a game. But producing and editing was definitely like the hardest one, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I took back in, I guess it was during quarantine actually, I think. I took those classes, but they were online because obviously we couldn't go in
Hmm.
there. And I took it was like a how to make a YouTube video one, and then I think there was an editing one as well that I took. And we just like hopped on a Zoom, I guess, and it was probably once a week. And or maybe I think maybe it was every day for a week.
yeah, so
It
about
was it
your
was a lot of fun though.
MRC edits, so like what you do is absolutely sick. Like it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So how'd you get into that?
Oh, so I guess I've always been kind of, ever since I was little, I've always enjoyed like creating things. Like I would take my dad's phone and like just like make things on like iMovie and like with my iPod and like
Yeah, I was the
iPad.
same
Like I would
way.
always just be making stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess in middle school I kind of learned how to edit things, but I had only had my phone, so I just learned how to edit things on my phone. I would make like literally I would make like memes of like my friends and stuff, and like I would just put like I used to do a lot of Fortnite mixes for people. I used to do the Fortnite stuff because that was
Yeah.
huge then, and I was in middle school, so like you know. And then once I hit like ninth grade, I took video and animation.
Me too.
Um,
Ninth grade.
yep,
Dude,
yep,
best
great
class
class. I
I
had a lot
taken
of
in high
fun there.
school.
Yeah, it
Awesome.
was so much fun.
Miss
Yeah, it was
Turner's
an
the
awesome
goat.
class. Yep. Just me and my friends we'd take the little camcorders and just make like we made like music video like the projects were so fun and like it was not like it wasn't so like hard really like it was just
No,
like you kind of had fun with
just
it and
fun.
then you
Yeah.
also learn the aspects of it. So then that was when I learned how to edit on a computer. So I already had the basics, but like it's way different when you go from the phone to computer. And
For
yeah, I
sure.
learned Premiere Pro there, which was a huge skill, I guess, to learn.
Goat.
And
Yeah.
then that summer was COVID hit, and I got a laptop for Christmas, and I just started like, just got the idea because I love sports and I started gaining a love for this stuff. I was like, oh, let me make some like, I started doing like NBA like mixes that I would post on my YouTube channel, and they were like, I mean, it started out that I was doing it like terribly in the beginning, and then like each time I was just like, oh, let me just, what can I do better on each one? And so I just
Mhm.
kind of did that, and that's where I learned all my editing stuff. Then I kind of like had, I don't want to say mastered because I still haven't mastered Premiere Pro. There's so many different things you can do,
Oh, it's
but
insane.
Yeah,
yeah, I know
it's a
there's
lot.
so much creative room. It's awesome. Like that's part of the reason why I think Premiere Pro is worth the price. But
Mhm.
I kind of started to get most of it down. I had all the basics down, and I guess it was that summer. Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't. I went another year, I guess, of just like kind of making stuff. Made an Instagram. I started doing Photoshop stuff there, and that's when MRC had the Instagram started. But I had no idea what I was gonna do with it. I just kind of was doing like I started making graphics for my friends. I think that's when it
Mhm.
really started like becoming like related. Um, and through the high school and eventually at this sophomore year summer going into junior year my friends were like I gotten a camera earlier than that process, and my friends are like, why don't you just come like to our football game, our first football game, like why not, and for me I'm like, it sounds awesome, like it's my friends, I could go film them, see like what happens. I've seen stuff on Instagram, tons of like mixes and stuff like that. So I was like, hey, why not? So I got the camera, I bought a lens for it, and I had showed up day one, game one, and it actually turned out to be like a really sick game. Like they won by a lot, and
Cool.
there were so many like highlights. Like I always feel like it's like I got pretty lucky, like that was the first. There was
Yeah.
like there was a super there was a hit stick, a pick. Like there was just really good highlights, and I had done. I think like I just think because I naturally had always been filming stuff like on like my phone and stuff. I just kind of had a knack for like editing it. So
Yeah.
I think I only missed one highlight like with like I only missed like one shot. Um, and I had gotten most of the other stuff, and I was just really like I remember I was so excited, and I finished filming whatever, and I had a basketball practice, and I'm literally in the car. It's like an hour away, and I'm in the car, and I'm like, do not want to go here at all. I just want to go home and edit this because I was so excited to like put something together with it and just release it.
Mhm.
And I got home from basketball practice. I didn't go anywhere. Like my friends asked me to come out. I'm like, no. I stayed home and I like grinded it out. I was up till like 3 a.m. and then I slept and woke up at like 9 and like just like grinded out the next morning. And then I released it and I remember just like everyone was so excited about it. And now I look back at the edit and it's not very good in my opinion, but like people loved it and it's just because it was like the first time that people had seen something like that. Like they were on camera playing sports, like, and it was just like cool for them to be on there. And from then I was like, I gotta keep doing this. I gotta go to the next game. Like I just like kind of fell in love with it.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean when you like had a knack for it. Cause like making the videos, cause I used to do that too. I used to like film a lot of YouTube videos or just videos for fun on my own. And honestly, I think that's helped me get I would say I have a pretty good behind the camera presence, like for the podcast.
I would agree. I would agree.
Yeah, thank you. So, like years ago, I didn't always want to do podcasts. I'm considering this for a career for sure. Like when I was when I was in 7th grade, I certainly wanted to do a different direction. I wanted to be a professional Super Smash Bros. Player. And I got the what is this? The capture card to record my Smash Bros. Highlights. Those dreams stopped when I realized that like there is no pay. I'd be living on the streets. But yeah, certainly exactly. Doing that. I don't even know if I ended up posting any videos actually. I maybe a few, but yeah. I mean, terrible dreams. But anyway, it's the point is that it certainly helped me get better at this kind of stuff, for sure.
Yeah, I wish I could say I was experienced as the two of you in editing, but the first time I used Premiere Pro was actually for that class, but like
you took that class too? Oh, I mean the Hofstra class.
The Hofstra class, yeah. But the first time my first experience with editing was like Share Factory on PlayStation, and
that's a classic. That is a classic.
Still using it now, actually. I actually just pumped out a video on Share Factory, but really? I was using that. It was a little COD clip. I just had to cut out a little part in between. Mm-hmm. But it was Share Factory, and it was this website Capwing. That was where I started like my YouTube channel. That was the first thing I used to edit my montages and stuff like that. And since then, I've just been editing on my phone because this app on my phone is much better than Capwing, and it's free. So there's that. But I definitely want to. I want to get a computer that can run Premiere Pro, and I want to start actually like getting myself into editing more, because it is fun being on this side of the camera. But there's also actually, like you said, there's a lot of fun being, behind the camera and working on the editing and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
It is. I think it's also a great skill to know if you're someone who wants to kind of go in the direction of like, I mean, by the way, the direction of the way that the world is going with this stuff. I think it's good to be able to have an on-camera presence, which I think you both have. And I also think it's very good to if you can do that, and then you can also edit your own videos, because a lot of the times the way I see it is like everything for me is like it's in my head. So like if I want it to be a certain way on camera, I feel like I want to do it like it sounds selfish, but I want to do it like the way like my brain sees it, because I have a vision for it. And then same with the opposite side, where like I wouldn't want someone else to edit a video of mine, because I like say I filmed a video and I'm like, okay, you edit this. I would never. I just maybe they would do a good job. I'm sure they would if I found the right person, but I'd prefer being there because I'd rather make the creative decisions that I know I would make. Yeah, I think totally that's agree. Like it's good to be able to kind of do both,
Yeah. So I edit all these videos, and some of them take a long time. Only I know how I want it. Not to like say anything bad against you, Jay Willy, but like No,
I trust me. I trust you editing these more than I would trust myself editing these.
I mean, yeah. Like I know how I want it, so I don't. Only I know how I want it. Like as you said. Like I would.
I think that's a good like. That's like a good. You should have that sense of pride. Like you it's your you and Jay Willy's creation, and it's like, again, I'm sure if you had questions or I'm sure you run things by Jay Willy all the time, sure. But it's like it's your creation, so it's like passing it off to someone else. Like And then there's times I think genuinely if you don't have time because you're running around doing, video stuff and you're always busy and you need an editor. I think that there's a process of finding an editor or someone who can help with that is necessary. But I think if you are going to be not doing anything anyway, learn that skill. It's a good skill to know. It's a good, it's a good way of being able to personalize what you're making. Because by the way, what when it comes to creators, there's so many people out here trying to do things like we are all trying to do right now, and you have to stand out. You can't just be the same like everyone else. So you have to, if your brain and your creative style is different, people will find that refreshing and they'll naturally gravitate towards what you guys are doing and what I would be doing. Like, that's a very important thing, especially as the world continues to go in the direction of like being able to create because they have this stuff at their fingertips, and then also being able to just, like learning how to do that stuff. So I think that that's very important.
So you edit on Premiere Pro. I've been editing on CapCut for these podcasts. I was going to get Premiere Pro, but I mean, I didn't because of the price. So what exactly, obviously Premiere Pro is like the best of the best, but what exactly sets it apart from like others, would you say?
So in my opinion, there's just a lot of creative, like, what's the word? A lot of room to like be creative in my opinion. I think also, by the way, there are definitely other options that are very similar in level to Premiere Pro. There's DaVinci Resolve. What's the other one that I'm blanking on? It's the Blackmagic design one. Wait, is that DaVinci Resolve? I think so. I forget. I don't know. I know DaVinci Resolve is good. I'm pretty sure that one's free. And it's really just about like, it's because I learned Premiere Pro, which is why I got it. It's also the layout. I think I like the layout of it more than anything else, but that's probably just biased because I had learned on it.
I like it too.
But I wouldn't say like you can only get Premiere Pro if you want to be successful. Like it's the only thing you can do. Like there are plenty. By the way, people could make a career editing on their phones or like editing on something that is free, or like there's plenty of different options. It's really just as long as you know how to use it. That's the point. Like I wouldn't urge someone to get Premiere Pro if they're gonna struggle, because it is harder to like, because it is more advanced. It's harder to learn. So if you're a beginner, a place like CapCut is your best friend, and you learn the basics, you get it up, whatever, and then you move to something where you're like, oh, I wish I could do more on this, and I wish and another part of the reason why is because I have other Adobe, so I have Adobe After Effects, which is more of like the effect stuff. You can, like kind of put 3D objects and stuff in there. I was
wondering what that
cut
is.
Your guy out, like, there's a lot more you can do with that, and you can track things and put like, I could change what's on my wall right now, like, and make it look like it said something. Like there's so much there creatively. I'm not even close to scratching the surface of things that I can do there. But you're in Premiere Pro, if you want to take a clip and bring it into After Effects, add some effects, and then go back to Premiere Pro, and it automatically syncs across. And like when you're watching it there, so like for me, like that is why I would stay on Premiere Pro, because you can't do that with other softwares. But again, I don't think you have to live and die by killing yourself trying to learn how to, function with Premiere Pro when you can just, like, because if you're editing a video that doesn't need to be so special and you don't need to have as much creative room, like a podcast right now, you don't need to do that on Premiere Pro. You don't need to spend the money for Premiere Pro, because you're mostly like cutting things,
Exactly.
you're changing volumes, but like you can do that with many softwares, But,
When I was trying to learn Premiere Pro, first of all, my computer, it was so weird. Whenever I tried to do something on the computer, the screen would just go black for some reason. Like I would like hover over a video and the screen would just go black. And for the whole class basically, I was on the verge of punching the computer. But there's just so much on Premiere Pro. Like all I really did was just take the footage that I had, take the interview, take the stand-up, take the B-roll, and just put it all in and put the voiceovers over it. And it wasn't really super hard. Like it was something that I could have probably done on my phone, but there was a lot. It was just so much creative room for things that you could have did with Premiere Pro. And if I had more time, I definitely would have done more. Like I would have added music definitely in the background. I would have more transitions, all that stuff. But there was just like, it's like an endless just sea of creative ideas that you can really like bring to life with Premiere Pro. There's a lot of stuff.
It's funny too because once you learn more about it, see even it opens up more. Like you realize there's so much more that you can do. There are things that I literally look at. I'm like, I still don't know like what that even means, like what you can even do on it yet. Like, and eventually maybe the day will come when I'm like, that's that. Like I know what that means, but there's just so much, and that's why I'm like, no, I would say it's top tier.
So you said you also make graphics, or you used to, or
So I used to be big on the graphic thing, and then I kind of paused once I put like all my time into the video aspect of
I
it.
see.
I've always gravitated towards video more than picture anyway, but once I started being like, oh, let me branch out again now, um, I got back into the graphics a little bit. I've done graphics for my friends like when they commit to a college.
Yeah, I saw that.
For
Those are really
sports, I can do some of those. Like, I think I did. Actually, you guys would both love this. Here, I'll pull it up. But I did a Jets one, and
Ooh.
I gotta see this.
Sauce Gardner and Brees Hall both viewed it. I like put it on my
Wow.
story and like tagged them in it, and like they just viewed it, and I was flipping out. They didn't like it. They didn't look at it really. They probably just literally pressed by it. But here, let me find it. I had
Look, man,
done
that's still something.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah, it's
Especially being a
awesome.
Jets fan, like that is the sickest thing ever.
Yeah.
But I recently I made another account and I just called it MRC Designs, and I just thought let me put my designs and graphics and things there, But this was the Jets one. It's kind of hard to see probably. It's
Nice.
a little
Nice.
bright and stuff like that. But I just like kind of put that on it. Did for Max Antona's one. This is one of my favorites that I've ever done.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Partly because he's one of my good friends, and also just because I think I did a pretty solid job. That's my other thing, Photoshop, which is the third of the 3 Adobe applications that I have. There's so much for that I don't even know at all how to do. So I get very excited when I do graphics that I feel like come out kind of good, because that is a really confusing one. Photoshop is definitely, I think Premiere
that
Pro
is a
is more
skill,
straightforward.
man.
Yeah, Photoshop is, and people, there's like laws to it. Like there's, like you always do this, you never do that. Like there's more rules, I think, for a thing like Photoshop. Like
Yeah,
Premiere
that's
Pro is more
hard to
like
do.
straightforward. Like I think an After Effects, the best way to describe After Effects, I should have said this earlier. Best way to describe After Effects is Premiere Pro and Photoshop mixed. Can do like Photoshop things to videos in After
Yeah,
Effects.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
see.
which is super cool, but it's also super tough to learn.
A Jet once viewed my story too on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah, I had this meme account. I forget what I posted on my story, but do you remember Bradley McDougald?
Oh my
Yes.
God! What a name!
We got him from the Jamal Adams trade. He viewed my story. I must have said
Wow.
something really dumb about the Jets. Probably, I don't even remember. This was like
By the way, just a little shout out. I think it was like 2 years ago, like 3 days ago, 2 years ago. It like 2 years ago from like 3 days ago from now. If that made any sense? Was the Jamal Adams trade, which
yeah,
gave us Garrett Wilson. Want to give that a little bit.
and
of a
Vera
shout out.
Tucker.
Yes, exactly.
W
I just love
lineman.
Garrett Wilson, so give our O lineman some love. By the way, we're gonna need them a lot this year.
You guys are talking about your experience with Jets. Scat had a little experience with a Giant.
Oh,
a few days ago.
I did. So
Really?
at my camp, I'm a color war lieutenant, which means I'm one of the leaders of color war. I was luckily chosen. Well, not luckily. I like to consider myself their greatest employee. But so they had a combine in the morning. So counselors have to sign up to hopefully to get drafted into their camp's version of the Super Bowl. So it turns out the combine was complete nonsense, and all the color war leaders, including myself, got to play in the flag football game later the day. By the way, I absolutely balled out. Opening play, got a pick. Later, I got a touchdown. Then I got a last-minute sack, and I also had a key block. I blocked the head counselor from the other second grade group. It's a pretty good block, I would say. But there was a special guest referee that reffed my flag football game. New York football legend David Tyree was the guest referee to my flag football game yesterday.
Really?
Yep. I'll send you the picture right now.
So where do you work?
I work at. Yeah.
David Tyree.
That's crazy.
I could not believe he was at.
Were you flipping out? Like, that's crazy.
I didn't even know it was him at first. Because when they first announced there would be a special guest referee, I thought, all right, maybe they'll bring back the chef that left. But I didn't know they would actually get him.
That's a pretty big deal.
He's a big name. I mean, he won the Giants the Super Bowl pretty much.
Yeah.
That man, he almost woke me up when he, because I was a baby when the helmet catch happened.
I was sleeping on the couch in my den, and my parents had to like scream but pretend scream.
Quietly.
So David Tyree. Exactly. I guess we were in the same boat.
No, I was in my crib. I was upstairs, and my mom tells me all she remembers was everyone downstairs screaming, and she was like, "Shh."
How do you remember?
No, I don't. My mom told me this. I don't remember that.
Because I was gonna say you were like 2. I was probably like 3.
Oh, I didn't even wake up. I was passed out.
I didn't wake up either.
I put my phone on.
That. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who at knows David Tyree? Like, where does that connect?
Okay,
so in the supermarket in the morning, they're like,
hey, you want to come? You want to ref a flag football game?
You can pony up some money. I mean,
so another thing about that game was that you get bonus points for end zone celebrations. So
love that. I love that. I think the NFL should have that. By the way,
they definitely should. That'd be awesome. So me and this other kid, another lieutenant on the white NFL on my color war team. It's white NFL versus blue NBA. But anyway, this kid, we were planning out our celebration. So I was like, listen, if one of us scores a touchdown, we'll do like the bowling pin celebration, which we did. So he takes the football, he goes like this, and I'm like, and then I fall down. and then I scored a touchdown later in the game. And this next celebration was completely unplanned. This counselor picked me up. He started just running around with me. Then when he put me down, another counselor was just like bowing to me, and I was just kind of like.
I love that was on the spot too.
Yeah, and it's so crazy. It was all that was on the spot. The entire camp was watching. All the counselors, all the campers. It was awesome.
All the children.
All the children.
That's amazing.
And I did that right in front of my campers. They watched me ball out.
Yeah, that's
I
amazing.
will say though, we did win the game. We lost the halftime show though, so I had to learn a dance routine for the halftime show.
Halftime show was a competition.
Yeah, the halftime show was a competition. Yeah. Also, the other team got the ball at the beginning of both halves, so I don't know what was going on there. I guess that was David Tyree's error.
How that works.
He also made another error. Yeah, he also made another error when my team did 2 forward passes. One of them was over the line of scrimmage, by the way, and he called it a touchdown. So I guess he thought we were playing XFL rules.
Yeah, right.
It's been a while.
Oh,
it's been a while
that's
for,
amazing.
For him and his football career. So.
And then on my team, on my color war team, we all got his autograph on our color war shirts after the game.
That's sick.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Cool.
And the
That's
other team
really
had to
cool.
go home with no autograph. So.
Yeah. Hey, at least they won the halftime show.
Hey,
yeah, right.
They won the battle, but you guys won the war.
Exactly.
Imagine that was like that though in the Super Bowl, like just.
All you have to do is open up your favorite application that you
Whatever is happening right now,
whether it be Zoom or Ecamm Live or straight into Facebook or YouTube.
I have my thing just because my mom called me and it came to my what is happening. This is crazy. Hold on, let me just text my mom and be like, "Hey, still on the podcast."
The first family member to call one of our guests. We had to edit out Zach's aunt called him during the podcast.
They kept calling him because he wanted to know if what game was it? Oh, it was Spider-Man 2 for PS5. His dad called him saying it was out of stock.
It's a pre-order. The game's not even like available yet.
Hey guys, this is important. Yeah, just I don't know, just pre-order it or something. He's like, he's on the phone with his dad trying to hide it. He's like, just I don't know. I'm on a podcast, Dad. Like, get back on another day. We got to go to like Niagara Falls, Best Buy to get it. Like, it's the only place that has it.
It was so funny
That's
because the
amazing.
camp, they post on their Instagram story pretty frequently. Dude, their Instagram story was literally just my highlight reel. They were posting all my best plays.
That is so cold.
They missed my sack though.
I have actually a solid question for you guys.
Yeah.
You guys post like clips on TikTok? Like,
I
on the
was-
podcast?
I was planning on doing that. Yeah.
I
So
think it's
I've started posting
very
some of them
good
on
idea.
YouTube.
yeah.
Yeah.
So originally my plan was to blow up on TikTok and then post whatever YouTube clips I want to on TikTok. My first part of the plan was a success. I blew up on TikTok posting random nonsense. But
No piss August, baby.
yeah. So but it turns out if I try to post something like not related to that, it's not going to get any views.
Yeah,
Because
no
for
one-
example,
yeah.
my followers are not like podcast fans. They're
There
non-pissers.
for the
You know what I
numbers.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely think I mean I just think like this is if you have a podcast, like this is the way to go is just
think
make
so,
it like a
too.
podcast TikTok and you just post clips there, like even clips that are like funny or clips that are like actually informational. Like I know what I might do after this is at some point if I say something that's might be people who follow me and want to learn how to do like video stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if I say anything that's worthwhile for them, I might post a clip like that from here on TikTok then.
For sure.
For number one, for the informational purposes, and number two, people will be like, oh, podcast, whatever. And number one, it'll bring them to this podcast, which I would hope would help you guys out. And also then they look at this podcast and they're like, oh, who's this guy on the thing doing the video stuff? Let me check him out. Like so I think that's like,
Yeah.
especially because TikTok is
Personally.
like, if you're consistent enough on TikTok, like, and you consistently post like the same genre, like if you guys had a one for the podcast and you were consistently posting clips and stuff that people like, and it really just takes one that's like
Yeah.
outlandish or funny or crazy, like, and then someone's like, oh,
Certainly
this
have
is-
those.
like,
We have those. We have a
lot,
couple of
the last
those.
A lot of them. Mostly one guest
Yeah.
counts for those clips.
2 episodes.
Oh man, just hour-long rants just about just why school is a scam. It's just
Oh, yeah. By the way, Lucas Bay, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I am going to college, but I think I have a little bit of just a little bit of an excuse just because I'm learning something I want to learn. I enjoy it, but I agree with your stance. Don't go to college if you don't want to go to college. That's a bad
See?
a bad
Yeah,
move. If you're
alright,
gonna go to
alright.
college, just smoke weed and sit around and party and do nothing. But if you're gonna go to college because you want to learn about whatever it is you're majoring, I think that's a very smart decision.
I agree.
Yes.
Don't blow the money. Don't blow the money for no reason.
About TikTok. So as soon as I don't want to say I fell off. I'll never admit that I fell off. But but as soon as my videos stopped gaining like a lot of traction, it's because I stopped being consistent with it. Because I don't like that about TikTok, that you have to constantly post. I don't like that. I find that
True.
annoying, and after a while, it
Yeah,
just
that's
gets
why
not
I've
fun.
struggled as
I
well.
mean, how many videos about not pissing, not showering, not changing my clothes, not brushing my teeth? I mean, come on, it gets old already.
Gets old, yeah.
And it gets embarrassing after a while. I go to school, yo, what's up, No Piss August? I'm like, yeah, that's me.
And then you have to explain to people, no, I do pee.
I
do
actually
shower."
pee.
Oh no, I've actually been going along with it that I don't, but because
I think
you
that's
know,
a
I listen. If I'm gonna go this far to make these videos, I gotta
Yeah. You gotta stay.
You gotta double
Yeah.
down on it.
yeah. But
No,
yeah.
I've definitely noticed it too with YouTube. Like it's definitely like less significant with YouTube. Like you can take a break for like a week and a half or so and just not post, and people will still come back and see it.
For
but like
sure.
during the school year, I just wouldn't have time to like stream or edit or do any of the stuff like that, so I just wouldn't upload. And unlike Scat, I will admit my channel did kind of fall off. I've been trying to get it back going. I started the second channel for the podcast where
Yeah.
I'm posting the podcast clips now. So I'm trying to give myself an adrenaline shot in the leg right now to bring my channels back, but it's definitely hard when you stop posting consistently.
I also think it's good too because if you're you know, generating like, viewers through your gaming channel and your streaming, and then you are also generating through the podcast, you kind of just like make like a cross stream of like people like, hey, let me go watch his podcast because I like his streams, and vice versa. Like I like his streams, let's go see the podcast, and it's just like, it really, I feel like it's all just a consistency thing because I used to do TikTok a lot too when it was more when I was doing the NBA videos and stuff, and it's just the toughest thing is just like waking up and like the thing is, at least if you get a video that blows up a little bit and you get like a little bit more adrenaline to post another one, but it's a grind when you're posting videos and you're getting not as many views as you want. And again, it's not all about the views, but you kind of want to see there to be some sort of payoff to you putting these videos out. Like if you're pumping out videos every day, you're doing one a day and you're seeing no payoff, it gets tough, and it's such a mental like, okay, like, I want to stay consistent, but it's tough, and it doesn't. Sometimes your brain will be like, "Am I wasting my time right now? Is this stupid?" But then the other side of it, you're like, you're like, but the next one could be the one, and I think it's like that's such an underrated kind of thing that people don't think about. People will just watch TikToks and they'll watch people who, they'll be like, "Oh, this guy posted 3 new videos today. Like, yeah, I get to go watch them because they like that creator." But it's like that guy, by the way, had to think up 3 original ideas and had to take the time to film them all, and then you almost post it and you're like, is this even going to do well? Like, it's such a, I think that's a thing, like, I don't want to be like, for people like us who are constantly creating, it's a little bit like there's a mental side of it that's like, you kind of gotta push through, I think.
For sure.
And I also think you'll go through like dry spots and it'll be like, is this something I still want to do? Should I just, you almost want to fall back and be like, if you're not making money or you're not doing something like, that's why I think it's also very good that you guys are getting started. Like, you guys are still young and you have time. Like, if you're pushing this stuff, like, you guys have at least a minimum of a year now. Like, if you're consistent and like things go from there, like, this can then become something big. You know what I mean? Which actually, I have another question for you guys. Would you ever consider bringing something like this, like, in person, taking it off of Discord, like making it like getting like a
absolutely,
like finding a place to sit and record, maybe getting like a table and find a camera, get some of the equipment, because I think that is a big step too.
Absolutely.
I agree.
An idea we've had for a while is getting a round table and getting all the girls that I've talked to and just having one big, just, I don't even know, just bonanza of a podcast
Jay Willy,
episode.
a few of them are my coworkers.
I know, and it's kind of bad.
But they're not color war lieutenants though.
Exactly. But it is definitely something
people
that
go
I've
nuts for that stuff.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
definitely
know
seen,
how, but they do. They do.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's like a Sidemen type of thing where you just like, you all sit at a table and you just, everyone can, if the audience can feel the awkwardness or the weirdness, or like just like they can, and they have enough background and context to like kind of run away with it, like, people love that stuff, and like they'll be like, this is hilarious, like,
it's very funny.
Exactly.
Going back to the TikTok conversation, so I don't think I ever got to a point where I didn't enjoy it. It just got, it was just kind of, it got to a point where it was an annoyance. So instead of instead of stopping uploading completely, I came up with a plan. So in October, I was doing like a no brushing teeth October challenge, right? And I came up with that idea because at the end of September, I actually had like a tooth infection and I had to get a tooth taken out. So I recorded myself with like gauze in my mouth or something after I got the tooth operation, and I saved that until like near the end of October. So I wrote myself off, like I failed the challenge because I had this infection in my tooth. But in reality, it happened a month later.
Like a month ago.
And it was also not in a result of not brushing. I mean, I brush my teeth at least once a week.
Disclaimer, brushes his teeth, everyone. It's fine.
But then I didn't realize how consistent you need to be at that point. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Even with YouTube, because I started my channel during COVID. I started July 2020, and 2021. That was when that was like when my love for doing it was at its peak. Like I gained like 100 subscribers in that year alone. Like it was just so much fun to do it. And then 2022 rolls around, and I'm like, yeah, 2022 is gonna be great. We're gonna pop off this year, and it was a rough year. I gained subscribers, but it's just like after a while, it's just like, man, I don't know. This is not like I didn't like stop loving it, but like Scat said, it just became like an annoyance at a point. Like it
What
was
do you
just like
post? Like, what is your genre for you?
mainly it was just gaming stuff. I would try to stream every weekend. I would, whenever I had enough clips, I would try to throw together some little poor excuse for a montage, and I would just like funny moments. I would post funny reactions for what I was gaming. Like it would just be like a minute long of just ear rape of just people screaming, and people loved it. People ate it up. Like I would get like 100, 200 views. My highest viewed video was like 50K.
Oh my god! On YouTube?
Yeah, that was like
Was
a
it a
peak
short
moment for me.
or?
It was a short.
Okay.
But
Still, I mean, still, that's awesome.
that's just still a lot. And but it was after a while, it just wasn't as, it didn't give the same like rush that it was given before. I still do it now, but it's
Question.
not to the
Question.
same
Did
extent
you
at
gain
all.
a lot of subscribers off that one specific video? Because for TikTok, I know there's two specific videos that they both blew up, and I gained a lot of followers based on that alone.
There was a decent amount that came from that. I think. Actually, yeah, I think it was a lot of subscribers came from that one video. Like of the 100 I gained in that year, because that was towards the end of 2021, or was that I don't even remember. But like of the 100 subscribers that I gained, maybe 40 of them came from that video, and
Wow.
it really was like that was like peak Stealth 23 right there. And then after a while, it slowly started getting worse, but then definitely in 2023, my channel's been struggling.
I have an idea for you, Jay Willy. You should just
Let me hear
change
it.
your channel name to Jay Willy, not Stealth
I was
23.
thinking about it.
Just do it. Just
I was
full send.
thinking
Do
about
it.
it.
Do it.
I like that. I agree completely.
You see,
Like-
the only thing is,
Sound better. Market's better.
it does. Yeah,
Market's a lot
a lot
better.
more people
A
know
lot
Jay.
better.
A lot more people know Jay.
I
Willy.
don't see a lot of popular social media people with like numbers in their name. Besides, like
I was thinking the
besides
exact
like
same
Nick
thing too.
A30 maybe. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Amazing. Yeah, he's like the only person I know with like numbers in their name
true.
that
It just doesn't
pop
work.
off.
Yeah. People,
Like people think of Moist Critical. His YouTube channel is Penguin Zero,
That's
but
true.
most people know him for Moist Critical. Like if you look up Moist Critical, Penguin Zero comes
There's
up.
also this
so.
other YouTuber. His name's like PlainRock124. His whole shtick is that he's like he loves video games, and that he's a virgin, and he is over 1 million subs, and that's numbers. But that's like 2 examples I can think of, or 3. That's
exactly,
it.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to out.
Everyone, it's like Jay. I think Jay Willy is very like.
It's awesome.
It's like a nickname. Everyone calls you
Yeah.
Jay Willy anyway.
I mean, you could
Yeah,
have
because-
the Willy channel as just Willy. That's fine,
Of
because
just
that
Willy,
it
that's
interconnects the brand.
Yeah.
Does. I'm not sure I want to go the route of outing myself as a massive virgin though. So
No.
I think we'll get rid of the numbers.
Yeah.
Man. The end of Stealth 23.
What else was I gonna ask?
Is that it?
It's gonna be
I
it.
think so. I've been telling you this for a while
Some
now,
good
Jay Willy.
clickbait
I think
right
it's
there.
time. It's time.
The end of Stealth 23.
It's just you changing your name. Like
It could
people
really
think,
be. It's.
Whole
it's
channel's collapsing, but you're
I
just
don't
like,
see any
right.
downsides of it. I really don't. I mean, it's just so much
agree.
better.
The only
It's
thing
much
is
more
I paid PlayStation $10 to change my name from Stealth Black to Stealth 23 YT. So now
Well,
I
you
gotta
can
pay
still
$10
keep
more.
that.
Yeah, you could still keep
It
that.
doesn't really
you know?
matter.
No, and then that's the thing. You'll have OG fans who remember you as Stealth 23. That's
But
how
at
you know
Stealth
who
23,
That's
the
true.
yeah.
fans are. It's pretty cool.
The real ones.
Kind of like
Yeah,
Mr.
I think I'm gonna
Beast.
do it.
He used to be Mr.
Yeah.
Beast 6000. Realized the branding would be a lot
Yeah.
better if it's just Mr. Beast. And the
Beast,
OGs
yeah.
still remember him as Mr. Beast.
Imagine
6000.
every time you said Mr. Beast. Think of how many times you said Mr. Beast in the last week. Thousands, probably.
A bunch.
Imagine if you had to say 6,000 after every single time you said that.
We talked about him earlier in this episode from
Yeah,
being
exactly.
from
We didn't
the
say
greatest place on
6,000.
earth. Yeah, we
Okay,
said
you're
Mr.
right.
Beast.
See how it is? But yeah, I
Next
agree.
one.
Like I could see how that is such a like, and then that's also shows like, that's why I think these guys like YouTube guys don't get enough credit, or not just YouTube guys, but just people who are
I agree.
influencers and creators in general. like there's no way you've not been through a rough point. Like everyone who's done it has been through a rough point, has been through a small, a hiccup here and there where they've thought the same thing that all three of us have thought, like, oh, what's happening here? Like, this is getting tiring. This is tough. This is, and I think that should be inspiration for young creators and people who are wanting to, explore like the idea of growing with that. And when it gets tough, to be like, hey, wait, think of everyone who's ever succeeded at this. They've gone through a rough point. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, and you also have to remember, like, stay true to yourself and stay true to your, like, don't just chase the numbers and the fame and all that kind of stuff and get away from who you are. Like, it's important to stay who you are, but at the same time, like, you also have to know what is liked by, like, there's a very happy medium with that, where, like, you have to know this is where things are going and people like to see this type of content, but you don't want to be the guy who's just copying everyone else and you're unoriginal. You want to kind of, make your own way that's kind of similar to the way that people like, but you make your own way or by the way, reinvent a new genre or style of something. Like, I look at a guy like Speed. He's like such one for me that is just like, people love, like, the way the stupid, like, crazy things he does in his head. Like, people think of how many Speed copycats there are. Like,
oh, so many.
People, like, I think it is so funny watching his, like, clips and stuff when because he's just so random, and, like, he just got the idea one day to, like, this is gonna be my character that I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna be crazy on stream and do this type of stuff, like, and it's almost, in a way, it's not authentic because I don't believe that that's the real Speed.
I
the real
doubt
actual
that.
Speed is
he's a
guy,
but he is a
but
genius.
it's authentic in the way he's a genius, and it's authentic in the way that he always consistently acts like that, and he's not, like, it's not coming from a place where he's chasing the fame. He's just doing that as, like, an actor. Just like an actor goes and plays a fake character, doesn't make it not authentic. It's just, it's a different style of, kind of making people, bringing joy to people and making people laugh,
Kind of like,
I think my favorite...
MJF, the wrestler?
Oh, what's his...
He's from Long Island. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. You know who that is?
Sounds extremely familiar.
So,
it really does.
WWE's, like, their
I used to watch a ton of
competitor,
WWE.
their competitor brand is AEW, All Elite Wrestling. So he's the world champion for AEW. He's from Long Island, New York, and his whole shtick is that he's just an absolute dick, right? He's a dick. But he acts like that all the time, like, not just
Exactly.
on the show, but, like, in public, he's always in character. And I think that's what made him so popular.
Yeah, and that's what makes it, in a way, like, as in a way that's so not authentic, but it is authentic at the same time, because that's not the real him. A lot of time he'd want to probably be nicer or not really be a dick, but, like, at the same time, because they know him as that, and it's refreshing for him to also be an asshole when you see him in person. Like, that's what makes it authentic, kind of.
Like, I'm sure if a normal cashier was like, your change is 783, he's not gonna be like, yeah, screw you, give me my change.
Yeah.
But, like, if a cashier recognizes him, he'd be like, oh, you're MJF, and you're like, man, Q, give me my change.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all a balance, really. All this kind of stuff is just, like, gotta figure out, and the whole thing is staying true to yourself. I think is you maintain that with also, like, creating and enjoying yourself, and also creating, and putting work and time into it. I think, like, success will probably only come from that.
I think that's something I've improved at a lot recently. Like, being myself, but also being kind of wacky on podcasts. And connecting that, I think it's good. But it takes a lot of time.
I would tell you right now, no offense, on your own podcast, I would sit and tell you right now that if I thought it was like a corny or stupid, or it didn't look, like, natural. Like, I think both of you guys on the podcast, like, you seem natural. You seem like, you seem interested in your guests, no matter who they are.
Yeah, for sure.
You seem like, you're excited to be here. You seem like, it seems authentic. And I think that's why I looked at the podcast and I'm like, there's something here. You know what I mean? Like, I could tell, like, if you guys had stay, focused and kind of, like, consistent with things, and you keep doing the things you're doing now with, improvements as you go, because it's, no matter who you are, anyone can improve. So I think but I think that there's a start of something here where you guys are, you guys are authentic. I can tell you guys work well off each other. You guys work well off the guests. That's not an easy thing to do, especially over Discord. It's definitely easier to do that in person when you have your guests sitting right there, you're looking at them. But over Discord, it's hard to kind of go back and forth. It's hard to let everyone, get their I don't want to say turn to talk because it sounds like kindergarten, but you let everyone let everyone say what they feel like they want to say, and it doesn't feel like you're stepping on each other's toes, one person's trying to talk more than the other. It just feels very real, and I think that's where that's why I feel like you guys have potential, and you guys can definitely make this into something big.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate it. And I've definitely noticed if you talked about how you watched back your first edit, and you're like, man, this isn't really that good.
Yeah.
Watching it's a little rough watching Scat and Willy episode 1.
It is because you can't even hear us, so
you can't even hear us.
It's a bit rough. Yeah.
The audio was messed up the whole time.
Yeah, but I feel like we've definitely come a long way.
We've definitely come a long way in 9 episodes in.
Absolutely.
That's what's important, really. As I said, when I was early on in learning things, I just looked at, or even when I started, once I made that first edit, and literally I cannot, every time I watch it and people are like, oh my God, that's my favorite one, it makes me so angry because it's it didn't take me, it took me so long to do something that shouldn't have taken me long. The coloring is so messed up on it, I cannot stand it. I'm like, why did I do that? It's like there's no contrast at all. It's I took all the contrast out of it for some reason.
Ooh.
I don't know what I was thinking, but I just because I was inexperienced, I didn't know. My point was every time I tried to just make it better each time, and I think if you look at it that way, a cumulative type of thing, you look at it and you're just make sure what did I do badly here? Okay, let me fix that on the next one. And then on the next one, let me fix another thing, and you just tweak it there. You'll end up getting a product that's you become more happy with, and once the list of things to fix gets smaller, you kind of feel more, you feel wow, I'm improving at this. I feel like I'm getting better. So I think that's a very important thing is looking at yourself. Don't you got to compete against yourself almost.
Absolutely.
Switching the topic a little bit here, so the wrestler MJF, he likes to say he's the king of Long Island, right? But Max, you were recently the king of our high school, homecoming king.
Woo!
How was that like? How did you get into the position where you were elected as homecoming king, and how was that experience? Representing the cross country goons, by the way.
Exactly.
2-time homecoming kings. Soon to be third.
Yes, sir. Yo, Scat,
And generally soon to be fourth.
Soon to be fourth, you already know.
Cross country's just taking over at this point. It's a little unfair, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna talk about cross country. Ooh, man. Woo.
Yeah. So I think I guess it didn't even really occur to me that was kind of a possibility that would be something to happen until over the summer. Someone asked me, and I was just oh, I guess maybe I am in the conversations of being nominated, but I guess until you don't think about it until you're approaching senior year, that's a thing that happens around homecoming time, and you don't really think oh, will I, you're not thinking for that, I guess, kind of. And I guess I got kind of nominated, and I'm oh, maybe, I don't know, I guess maybe I could win. I just didn't think much about I wasn't trying to be hey, you vote for me, you vote for me. I kind of was just things will fall into place. I'd rather people vote for me because they want to, not because I asked them. But I think it definitely helped having a younger brother in the school because the freshmen had no idea, they didn't know the seniors really, so they kind of came in, and it's within the first 2 months of school really. So they were kind of oh, well, I know Cooper, so I'll vote for his brother. So I think that helped a little bit. But I also think I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think over the years I just naturally been nice to people. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy I just like being nice to everyone because I think number one, I think it's the right thing to do. You should be a nice person. I like being likable almost. But
yeah.
I also think and this is a very good piece of advice. Well, be nice to everyone. Don't be an asshole, because later in life, those people can help you. And like, it sounds a little bit like a selfish kind of thing. Like, don't just be nice to someone because they can help you later in life. If you know people and people are like, oh man, I like that guy. I went to high school with him. He was a nice guy. They'll be like, you can, like, you makes things easier. You can get things, or you can, someone who can help you with something later in life when you need help, because people, everyone goes their own separate ways, but people build their own, people get smarter, people get, they gain more, resources and this and that they can help you with. Like if you're just like, oh, I need someone who knows how to, here's the thing. If you need someone who knows how to edit something later in life, and then they come to me and they were an asshole to me in high school, I'm going to be like, why would I help you? You didn't, I didn't like you. But if they come to me and I'm like, yeah, man, that guy was cool. He was nice. Like, I really liked him. Like, and you'll be like, yeah, I'll help you out. You give him a less of a price, like you give them a sale a little bit on stuff, So I think that's another thing. So I kind of just throughout high school just always just tried to be nice to people, and just so I think that then people are just, it makes it easier for them to vote for someone who they're just like, yeah, he's always been nice. And I also think MRC edits helped a little bit because people liked the videos. So
Absolutely.
They were kind of like, they're like, oh, I really love the videos and stuff that he puts out. Like, I'll give him a vote, So
You definitely had my vote. You had my vote from the
I
XC
appreciate
days.
that.
I don't remember voting, but if I did, I assume I voted for you.
I don't remember who
so.
I don't even know.
I can leave the podcast now if you did, so.
I definitely
it was
had
fun.
my
It was
vote.
cool. Definitely like a cool thing to like be like, yeah, I also remember being like I did it for a day and then I was like, okay, I'm over this. Like, it's kind of like, it's fun. Like I won, and then like I won that afternoon, and then the next morning I like wore the crown and like had the sash and went in the parade, and then like literally I went and got off the car, for like the car I was sitting in and took off the crown, took off the sash, stuffed it in my bag, and then down my camera, because like
You had to record
really what
for
it
the
was really what it was like, I was excited about that. It was cool, but like for me, I was just waiting for the next game, and it was homecoming. Like that's such a hype game. Like, so I was so excited for that. Like literally the whole ride there in the car, I was kind of just like, all right, like parade's moving slow. Like I don't want to miss any warm ups. Like this could be great shots I could be getting right now. Like I was just thinking about that. But it's a fun honor, and like when I look back, I'll be like, yeah, I'm glad I won that. But
Yeah, man. I always want to be. I want to always like to be in the car, because for the two homecomings that I've been to, I've been carrying two very crappy banners down the road. So
Yeah, I don't even think I'm eligible because I have to be in the parade more than anyone probably, because I have to lead all the drummers.
because of band, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be drummer like captain, so I probably can't even go in the car.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Be in
So,
the parade.
who else?
They don't need me.
Who else could rep the cross country goons?
Keo.
Okay.
I think Keo will be nominated. He could definitely give a shout out Keo, by the way. He could definitely give he definitely can give people a run for their money there. Definitely, he's very likable. I think he definitely could win.
I think he could. I think Keo could win.
Rep the cross country goons.
You got to rep the XC goons.
Be great. You're gonna win. It's gonna be awesome.
Speaking about the XC goons, Max, what was your? How about this? So you were in cross country. What was your best cross country experience and worst? Worst for me was probably the monsoon race. But, were you there for that?
Who?
Was that this year?
Yeah.
That was this year. Yeah.
I think I only went to one meet this year.
Yeah,
I kind of mailed it in. I kind of mailed it in at the end of my career a little bit, but
as you deserve to. As you deserve
my
to.
best experience. I don't know. I've had so many good ones. Like even ninth grade, like Brown. So you guys haven't gone to Brown yet because it's gotten canceled every year.
We are supposed to go this year,
Brown,
actually.
Are we?
I think so.
It's very fun. It's really fun.
Is that the night meet?
That's when we go away.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's that was definitely really fun. I think ninth grade was really fun too because it was the beginning of like my high school career. So like I didn't know anyone, but like all of the seniors and like upperclassmen kind of took me like under their wing a little bit. Shout out to those guys. But they were the best. Like they were just like, we all meshed really well in the beginning. Like we all had similar like humor, and we all like you know, just like kind of just enjoy being around each other. So like it was so much fun. Like I went to every practice, everything. Like I was there every day, and it was just like I couldn't wait for it. Like it was so much fun. So shout out to those guys for making it fun and kind of accepting me, because in the beginning it's tough, especially in the beginning. Like you're with all these upperclassmen. It's like one of the few sports where you're like, it's not like JV varsity. You're with everyone. It's all
You're with
four
everyone.
grades, really,
all the time,
and
really.
you practice with everyone. So like, I was very nervous going in. Like I remember the first summer workout, I'm like this is high school now. I'm with like almost grown-ups. Like
Oh my
it's a
god,
weird
that was
thing.
literally me, my first cross country workout.
Yeah.
I was like, these are some big dudes. Who's that guy,
Yeah.
Max? He's scary.
Yeah. I don't think I come off as that scary, but
No,
yeah.
yeah.
So I think ninth grade was really fun, but I also liked, as the years went on, I did less and less cross country. Like I came to less practices, partly because like the last 2 years I became more serious about basketball. So like I would go and like work out for basketball as opposed to just running and then working out, which would just tire me out, and I would put less work into the basketball part of
It's
it. So I
basketball,
think
yeah.
it was kind of like a business decision. But a lot of the times I would still go to a practice here and there, and like it never stopped being fun, like which is kind of like odd, because like after like some time, like it's very repetitive cross country. It's really just running. Like you just run all the time. Like just everyone, like there's like such a thing. Like I've always said this. There's a thing about cross country guys that like they're just like when you're at cross country practice and you meet other people from other schools at meets, like you just like everyone just is like the same level of like everyone's on the same level. Like this guy's like it's just like cross country humor. I don't know how to explain it.
It's
agree,
so
I
funny.
agree.
It's actually so
Like,
great.
things are funnier because you're at cross country. Like normally I wouldn't laugh at certain things, but like we had in sophomore year we had a DeBaby joke that we were making jokes about DeBaby, and then we get to the meet and other cross country kids from like Rockville Center are making DeBaby jokes, and during the meet we're starting the meet, we're running, and people are like making DeBaby jokes as we're running, and I'm just like
DeBaby
I
kid
remember
for-
saying out loud, I love this sport. Like, it's just so dumb that everyone's like, when you're I think it's because your brain is just can't
Not-
handle the fact that you're running.
Yeah.
Like he's like, why am I running right now? Why am I so tired? Your brain turns off and you start making stupid jokes like that.
The baby jokes.
Like
Oh,
that was
man.
kind of the thing. It's just like it was always fun. Like, and bridge jumping too. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah.
Towards
I
the
kn-
end,
yeah.
I kind of grew a pair and was able to bridge jump. I was always scared to do it.
Still haven't
and
grown that pair.
this year.
Still waiting on that pair to grow in.
And
This season.
usually at the end of
Fall.
the season, we have the cross country bowl.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
is a
God.
classic. It is a classic.
classic.
So I hate to admit this, but unfortunately, I was Mr. Irrelevant for our previous cross country bowl. I thought I balled out. It is what it is.
For Mr.
I remember
Irrelevant,
you balling
you're
out.
like Brock Purdy. For Mr. Irrelevant, you balled out.
I remember you balling out too. I remember being like,
Just like I balled out in the Color War Super Bowl. Yeah, Super
No,
Bowl.
because
Exactly.
literally, let me tell you, when Scat got drafted, the first thing he goes, there was 8 mistakes made ahead of me. I'm gonna prove y'all
Yes, I
all wrong
remember that.
today. And he
remember
balled
that.
out.
Yeah,
He
I
did
pulled the
ball
ball, I
out.
pulled the Josh
I remember
Rosen.
that.
Unlike
But
Josh
he plays
Rosen,
like
I
Brock
actually
Purdy.
balled out.
Yeah.
We're still waiting on Rosen. It's been like 5 years already.
Are we, or have we just given up on Josh Rosen?
Yeah, we've
Because
given up.
I've
We've
given up
given
on
up.
him.
We might have. Yeah, I have at least. That is a shout though. I love that. Those were the most fun too. On the crappy like South Field. Like,
Oh man.
And the
Yeah,
people
like,
who
push
like
by
came
your
to one
arms,
practice
you
would
fell.
show up anyway. Take for the
because it
free
was just so
pizza.
much fun, too.
Yeah.
You just let him come.
Yeah.
McNally's the best. Shout out McNally.
The
Shout
best.
out McNally.
So I don't really know how to transition this, but instead of a draft, we usually do a draft. We're gonna do a blindly ranking. Max, you're gonna have to blindly rank 10 random things. I'm gonna write the things down on my phone so I don't just make stuff up on the spot.
I actually love this though. It's so hard to be right, so like I can't embarrass myself
Yeah.
right now.
We can give you
We're
a
gonna
lot
make
of
this.
things.
We can make this pretty difficult.
No, get warmed up a little bit here.
Okay, hold on. I gotta think of some.
Scat, I like the idea that you had in the beginning.
What?
I also will say I love this though. Like this is such a thing for like. Sorry to get serious again, because like who wants that? But like this is such a good thing. Like adding a thing like this at the end of each podcast,
Yeah.
like that just makes people be like, like they're waiting for it. Like it's like a signature kind of thing. It's
Yes.
like you do, a draft or a blind ranking. Like people come back for that. Smart, very smart thing. I like that. Do you have them all right now?
I have four. I have to think of
I
one more.
I have my 5. Actually, let me write down my 5 because I'm gonna like forget them.
It's crazy because it's coming from two different people
Yes.
too. So it's like you're thinking of 5 random and he's thinking of 5 random. And it makes it the randomness even more.
I got my 5, and Jay, will you have your 5?
I have my 5.
These are very random things I have here. Some
Okay.
some good, some bad. So
Oh, no.
Jay Willy, can I go first?
You can go first.
Okay, Max. For your first random thing, we have the New England Patriots.
10. It's gonna be here. We'll just do 10 right there. That's New England
Okay,
Patriots.
Jay Willy.
I don't think it gets any lower. I
Do you have?
seriously don't.
Yeah, so I have another one. Jay Willy, can I? Would you mind if I go for this one?
I got a pretty bad one.
All right,
too.
you go.
No.
Oh no,
Slavery.
Oh, shit.
dude, I have one very similar on my 5 random things.
Well, I guess we
That's
gotta go
last-
9, right? We gotta go 9.
That's the last really bad one I'm giving you. Trust me. The rest are tolerable.
Okay, so I have another pretty bad one, kind of in the same line. I got segregated water fountains.
Ooh. Well, I mean, not as bad as slavery.
True.
So it
We'll
is.
put it
It
at
is.
8. We'll
So
put
that's
it
a
at
decent 8. That's a decent 8. Okay. He's rocking right now. All right. This one's very random. Kiwis.
8. Ooh. I can't remember the last time I've had a kiwi, but I don't think it's that bad of a thing. I'm gonna give myself some room. I'm gonna go 5 because
Okay.
it gives me some room if you guys chuck me some politically
Yeah.
politically tough answers. And then I think 5, like a kiwi, like you never like let me grab a kiwi, but like when you do grab the kiwi, that one day you're like, this wasn't bad. You'll grab a kiwi
Okay,
maybe.
valid.
The percentages you grab a kiwi again go up, I think maybe.
Okay,
Maybe.
here's a solid one. Polio string cheese.
I'm not a fan of cheese. I don't like cheese a lot.
Oh.
It's my least favorite food. It's
Oh my God.
I'm very picky, but
Really?
I can't stand anything cheese really. Besides like pizza or grilled cheese. I won't get cheese.
But
on
how do you
pizza
not
anyway,
like
so I'm
cheese
gonna
and like
have to
grilled
put that-
cheese?
It's weird. It's a very
That's
weird thing
very
for me, but
weird.
if it's cooked the right way, I like it.
I mean, a grilled cheese tomato
Say
soup is literally
7
just
then,
pizza.
probably. I'd have to go 7 because I have to stick by my hatred for cheese.
Okay.
I don't like string cheese. I feel like string cheese is slightly overrated. Like I don't get
Yeah,
how people
like,
could
I
just really just.
If I were to go for any cheese, it wouldn't be string cheese.
Okay.
Sorry, Scott. We just like dogged on your string cheese for like.
Yeah, sorry
It's
about
okay.
that.
Listen, I'm not. Where'd you put it? 6, 7? You know,
7,
for
7.
me, I think I'd put it 5, 6. I mean, there's certainly.
That's fair.
It's fine. It's fine. I think. But there.
If I had an
I'm
11
agreeing.
slot,
It's
cheese
definitely
would go there.
I'm agreeing with Max right now, putting the Patriots below slavery and segregated water fountains. All right, so my next one, this is sticking with the theme of New England Patriots, the New York Jets.
I'm gonna say 2, just
Oh.
because you guys might chuck me one that's like an obvious one. Like I want to say 1 right away, but it's also hard because they've caused me so much pain over the years.
That's
Wait,
So
true.
much pain.
A lot of pain.
can I switch it to a 3?
I think you can.
3?
I think we let
I
it
think we'll
switch
switch it to a 3.
Yeah,
It's
it's a
just
3,
been
okay.
so much pain over the years, and I love them so dearly, but it's just hard for me to put them that high.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. My next random thing. This is something that you can't do a whole lot with. Uncooked spaghetti.
First of all, I love
What
the
is that?
randomness. I love the randomness. of
Where
that.
did that come from?
Uncooked
know.
spaghetti.
That came out of actually nowhere.
This is not cooked.
Can't do much with it, but I
Cook it.
still would eat that over cheese. So I might go 6.
Wow.
I might go 6 on that.
Okay. 2 more left. So right now you have what's left? Pick two and pick one.
One and yeah.
Uh-oh.
So something. This is not gonna end well. I could just tell. I could tell. There's no way that you guys both each have a non bad one. You guys are laughing, and I can tell that that's the reason that this is not gonna end.
Again, I made sure to write it down before, and I did it in order actually, so I can't just mess with you.
This is I'm sorry, Scat, but this one's actually like really good. I've watched this movie 5 times.
Oh, okay.
And it's been out for 2 months. Miles Morales.
Oh, I'm okay with Miles Morales. Ooh, that's tough. Because Scat, by the way Scat was talking just now, makes me feel like he's gonna have something bad. Because he's like, oh, I wrote it down, and
Not
I
necessarily.
can't mess with you now. See that him saying that just made me feel like even more.
Not necessarily. I could say the Scat and Willy podcast. I could say cameras. I could say Aaron Rodgers. You don't know what I have written on my phone.
Oh, this is tough because I wanna. I don't know. For the I'm gonna put it 2.
Okay.
For this to be funny, whether it's either gonna be exciting because it worked out well, or it's gonna be like now it comes down to this. There's no way this ends anticlimactic.
Okay. Your number 1 ranked random thing is wisdom teeth.
Oh.
Brother.
Getting them pulled, not fun. Not fun at all.
Well, is it getting your wisdom teeth pulled? Is that what's at number 1, or is it just wisdom teeth in general?
The overall subject of wisdom teeth. Getting them pulled, having them.
Okay, because I think having them.
Having is not great either, because they're gonna need to get pulled.
They just need to get pulled. Well, I guess I'm kind of screwed here.
Okay.
It wasn't the Holocaust, so
it wasn't. You're okay. Hey, Max, it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
It could have been much worse. You guys should have set me up for failure.
I could have put slavery last.
Yeah.
That would have been bad.
How do you know Bad Lion Chugs? Someone told me that you guys follow each other. Yeah.
I will flash it right now. He follows me with like all of his accounts.
How?
It is the biggest flex that I have by far.
Yeah, I would be flexing that too. Because I was gonna say, if there's any way you can get him on our podcast, that would make my life.
I can try. I love him. He's the best. I can definitely give it a shot. So my cousin is good friend. So my cousin, it's actually funny. Speaking of podcasts, my cousin had a podcast all about competitive eating.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
Wow.
Sick. It's actually really cool. It's a funny thing because it's such a avenue. Shout out James. It's such an avenue that like is not talked about, but like when you get into it, it's like really cool. Like he got me into it just from like I had to listen to his podcast. He's my cousin. Like that's like you're like, oh, he has a podcast. That's sick. I gotta give it a listen. And you listen to it. You're like, it's such a cool world. It's like, again, I'm not gonna sit here and say like it's as much of a sport as football, basketball.
Yeah.
But it's like the mantra and kind of like aura of it. It's like a sport. Like you can be a fan of this guy and you can watch it and like it's exhilarating. Like I've been to Nathan's hot dog eating contest.
I want to go.
I want to say 3, maybe 4 times.
That's sick.
I would say 3. It's really fun. Like, and it's not just everyone walks on stage to eat hot dogs. Like, there's, the MC is phenomenal. My cousin knows him. I forget his name, but he's phenomenal. He's hilarious. There's, there's a point where there was an opera singer standing somewhere. Like, it's just so much random stuff put together, and I love it. Like, I love that type of stuff. I think it's hilarious, and it's like best. And then they have like Joey Chestnut's the king. Like they have a whole walkout for him. They put him on a throne. Like it's awesome. And so he has his podcast, and they became like there's not a lot of competitive eating podcasts, but they were like the number one. Like if you watched competitive eating and were in that world, you listened to that podcast. So they grew pretty big within that podcast, which I think is the coolest thing. I think they don't do the podcast anymore. I think it was my cousin and his roommate. I think they kind of sort of got away from it. I think they're kind of, going on with their lives a little bit, but I think it was such a fun thing and such a cool thing. And they met so many people and probably had such like awesome times. Like, I think it's such a cool thing. So basically they knew Avalanche Tugs, you guys know Matt Stoney?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt Stoney, he's awesome. like they like met those people because like the competitive eaters would listen to the podcast because it's like it's a smaller world. It's easier for like this stuff to get around. So basically, my cousin has a rap song with Badlands Chucks. My cousin's in the song.
Is that the Nathan's Hot Dog song? Like
No, so it's a different one. So this Badlands, by the way, is like a rapper, like a full on like rapper, like competitive eats and he raps and he chugs.
That's badass.
And it's sick.
That's
So he like has tons of songs and stuff, and a lot of the songs will be about competitive eating and stuff. But basically, that song is about the podcast, and there's a like it's literally like he's a feature on it. Like he just wrote some. I don't even know if Badlands wrote it for him or whatever, but like it's hilarious. Me and my brother listen to it all the time, just like to be like, this is our cousin. That's super cool. But it's like it's legit.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a nice
He
guy.
seems
He's like
awesome.
yeah, I should try to get him on.
Dude, that would be, you guys, that would take us to another level.
That's true.
He's a
That's
legit
true.
internet celebrity. He really is.
Yeah, he's awesome. Yeah, like people will be like, oh my god, like that, like he follows you. It's crazy. But I think also like you guys do some research about like competitive eating. He'd love
sure.
to talk about it,
Yep.
and the chugging, and I'm sure he could talk a lot about YouTube stuff too because he has a YouTube channel and he's pretty big on there. So I think that's and he's just a really nice guy too. Like he would be
seems like it.
someone who would come on. That's why like if he wouldn't come on, I'd be like no, like I don't think he would. He's busy. Like I think he would be a guy who would come on. So I could try to reach out and figure that out. That's a good idea.
That's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
All right, it was good talking to you.
Hey man.
It was great. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
Thank
It's
you
a
for
lot of
coming,
fun.
Appreciate it. That was fun.
All right. See you later.
Appreciate it.
Boys.